Trap nerds, real niggas like you never heard.
We in this piece.
And we are back. We are here with a Trap Nerd regular, one of our favorite guests to have on ever. Josh Johnson is here with us. He's
How
here
you
to
doing,
talk.
man?
What's up, Josh, man? How's it going, bro?
Not much. I feel like I interrupted that intro. For a second, I thought it was going to be just saying my name. And then I realized that I stepped right on it. You were probably about to say a bunch of nice stuff. You were probably about to like list accolades and everything. You were really about to tee me up well. And then I was like, hey, how's it going? Like it just, and there's no like, there's no amount of time that's going to save what could have been, because even if we started all over again, first of all, I can't promise I wouldn't do it a second time. And then, I also can't promise that it would have the same feel to it, because whatever you were about to say was about to come from the heart. I could tell, like, wasn't prepared, wasn't like, scripted or anything. You were about to really speak from how you feel. And then I messed it up. And now here we are.
I mean, I was gonna blame myself. Maybe I should have just waited.
No. I really jumped in there. Anybody listening will hear that I clearly interrupted you.
But no, man, we're here with you again, man. We love having you on the show, and we're here to talk about your new special, Up Here Killing Myself. We was watching it, and I watched it twice. I had to watch it twice. Like it's a really good special. Like
Thanks,
how I
man.
put together. How does it feel to have another Comedy Central special? Well, I have another special out, like in general. Just how does it feel?
No, it's definitely a weight off. Like I feel like I'm so thankful that now we can just share it, because it was recorded last year, and I was preparing for it for so long that it just feels like another chapter that you get to share with people. So that's been both a relief and fun to do. Overall, I'm just happy with how it's being received, and the fact that people are checking it out. It just means a lot to me.
Man, that's rough. You had to wait that long before you could even talk about it. That'll drive me crazy.
Yeah, it's like it's tough too, because also, we let people know when we were shooting, so they could come to the live show if they were in LA. But past that, it's like, I don't know. It's fine to like involve people in the process. I think that that's part of like why social exists, for you to follow the journey of people that you enjoy. But day to day, there wasn't much to share. It would be like, getting those jokes ready. It's like, all right, we're shooting is the real post, is like, all right, hey, everybody come on out if you're in LA, if you want to chill with us or anything. And then after that, you can't just really update people every day with like editing. Oh, we out here editing. You can't see it yet, but we're editing.
Yeah,
I feel that.
So preparing and doing a special, I'm sure it's like super tedious, like super like trying to wait for that end process to get out. Like, what was like the process in building up the set for your special? Like, how long did that take before you was like, okay, I'm ready to put this on TV, let's record?
Yeah, it took quite a while, because I went to the director, Jacob Minacci, with it a long time ago, with the overall concept and the framework around how we would shoot it, and just everything about the special that wasn't the jokes. And we worked that stuff out, and then we're basically curating the jokes based on the premise of the special. And so that's one thing that did make it take a little longer. But I do think that's good, because I think that when there's an overall theme and an overall framework that you're working under, you create an understood language with the audience, and then people roll with you that much deeper than if it's just an hour of stuff that's funny, but like from subject to subject, it has no real connection. It has no real like rhyme or reason to it. I think that obviously people put out stuff like that all the time, and it's dope and it's funny. And as long as you're being funny, people don't really care about, all the little ins and outs and everything. I just think that sometimes a theme is stronger,
Yeah.
When it comes to comedy, that's my favorite kind of stuff. Comedy with a theme, like all the old goats did stuff like that, George Carlin and stuff like that. So that's my favorite kind of comedy. speaking about your special, how long did it take you to come up with this? How long did it take you?
In total, I think maybe from the day that we shot it to coming up with the concept, because you also have to factor in the pandemic.
Yep.
So all in all, probably like 3 years.
3 years. Wow.
Because the jokes were, I think workshopping the jokes took way less time than every other aspect of like getting it ready. How were we going to shoot it? Like storyboarding and that stuff. I think that stuff all took a while and then was obviously derailed. So then if you talk about length of time, like 3 years, if you're talking about actual amount of time worked on it, I'd say like a year and a half.
Oh, that's still a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like the aspect of it, like where you're doing your stand up in the crowd laughing, then it cuts to you're talking to a therapist. Was that something that you thought of, or was that something that was like brought to you?
Yeah, it's something that I thought of when I was approaching Jacob with the overall concept and everything, and it's something that I thought would be a good framework for us to reset every so often. Like not too much to where it's not a comedy special, but just enough that you remember the crossover between the two.
You in therapy? You do therapy still, or?
I do it off and on. Like I think
Really?
that there's some. This is my thing, and I'm not a therapist, so take everything I say with a pound of salt. But like, I do think that it makes sense to obviously go to therapy when you feel like you need someone to talk to. I also think sometimes, especially for me, it makes sense to not go if there's nothing really that you need to get off your chest. Like, I think that talking to friends, having new experiences, even talking to strangers sometimes, obviously not offloading on them in the way that you would in therapy, but just like sometimes you'll just have an earnest conversation with somebody who will say something that might be deep or it might be really interesting. They'll say something that already has you like, oh, I never thought of it that way. And you can gain so much perspective from other people and everything that I think when you are in a really good place in life, sometimes it does make sense to take a pause on going. You know what I mean? So it's like I'll randomly start going again, or I'll randomly be like, you know what? I think I got everything out of it that I need for the moment, and I'm good. I'm going to take a break. Because not only is life busy, but I think sometimes my perspective on it is every once in a while I'll take some time off to really think about what we've talked about. Do you know what I mean? Like I think some people go as a weekly check-in, and I go to gain perspective and insight. So if I've got all the insight I need on the issues that I was dealing with, then I'm kind of good for a while,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, and I know it's kind of getting popular to preach that you should go to therapists often, but I kind of feel that way too. Not you don't need it like every single day or like every consecutively. Like you said,
yeah, you
every
need it
once
when
in a
you
while is
need it.
cool. Right?
It's like I think that there are just some times in life where I'm like, no, I think for this whole period I'm just good. And then out of nowhere, it won't even be, what it'll be too? It won't even be something big happened. It'll actually be something small where I'm like, I need to go. I honestly need to go talk shit. So let me go there, because that's at least not only a safe place to do it, but it's the most productive place to do it. To go in there and just be petty as hell, and then have someone be like, so why are you feeling that way? Like, what's the because sometimes if you take that to family or a friend, they'll either tell you you're being petty and they won't listen, or they'll hype you up. And the last thing you need is to get hyped up. If you already know you're low key wrong, like you're being a hater, oof, and then they hype you up.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you on that one.
That's a good perspective. Yeah.
But also, I was gonna ask because you talked a lot about growing up in Louisiana, like the stuff you experienced and growing up poor. Like, how does it feel? Like you growing up in that little small town Louisiana, and now you're in New York. You're correspondent for the Daily Show. You got 2 specials out. Like, how does it feel to make that jump and like to to be where you're at now?
Well, still a writer, not a correspondent. But yeah, 2 specials and living in New York and everything. I mean, it does feel good, and I feel like I've come a long way because it takes visiting home again to like go back, dude. When you go back where I grew up and stuff, it's like I thought it was bad that, you know how when you're little and you everything looks big to you,
Yeah.
right? Going back now, because I had to go there for my grandfather's funeral, and going back there for that funeral and like riding around and seeing where I spent so much of my time and stuff, I'm like, oh, this was bad. This is way worse than I thought it was. This is horrible. Oh my gosh. Wow. I really made it out. Like, it's one of those things where, it's like if you do you remember there was a scene in the show Sister Sister way back in the day where there was like a mugger or something, or a burglar, and he had a knife and the dad just jumped into action, and it wasn't until the guy had been caught and the mom was talking to him that he realized like how much danger he was in, because he just acted off of instinct, right? But then she was like, oh yeah, he that was a big old knife, and he's like, what? Yeah, I guess I didn't notice. She's like, yeah, and his hands were shaky, he could have cut you easy, and it's like that whole thing is how I feel about going back home, where I'm like, wow, luckily I wasn't paying as much attention as I could have been, because this is bro, this is horrible. I was like, if I were to send you pictures, you'd be like, America? We're in America?
There's a couple places around here like that too.
Yeah, because y'all are in Texas, right?
Yep,
yeah, we're in Texas.
There's a special way that there's a pour that happens in the South that's very special. It's very specific to like America. It's very specific to like that region, where you'll have people who are in really dire straits in New York, but there's still some sort of infrastructure in play where you feel like you have lots of access even while you have nothing. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you're broke in New York, there's still free museum days, there's still free shows you can go to, there's still like, 1 second. Sorry. There's still community gardens, there's still food banks, there's all this stuff happening. When you're poor in the South, you don't even realize, you really don't even think more than 5 miles past where you live, because you're on foot, so you're like, okay, if I can't get there in a day on foot, then that's not available to me,
And as many as poor people in the South, the politics don't match at all. I don't see why the people in the South vote the way they vote for being so poor. It's weird. It's weird.
It is weird. It doesn't make a ton of sense. But also, I think they've been sold, a sort of bill of goods of like being on the right side means, it helps on the way, and it's never on the way.
Never.
It's never, and they won't get that until they're like, about to die and help never came. That's kind of the way that the way I look at it, because I still have a lot of empathy towards that mindset, because I can see how basically the government is doing to them what influencers do to their fans, where it's like, oh yeah, I'll make you rich too.
Yep.
Yeah, true. So like, do you still, I know you said sorry to hear your grandpa passed away. I know he was important to you in your life.
Yeah,
like,
thank you, man.
Do you any of your family members you still keep in touch with? They're like, oh my gosh, Josh is in New York now. Like cousins or anything you still keep in touch with in Louisiana?
I have some cousins that are still in my hometown, but a good portion of my family is in Atlanta now.
Oh,
so
okay.
I end up going to Atlanta way more than Louisiana. I haven't, before the funeral, I hadn't been to Louisiana in years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's cool. So I did have a Daily Show question, because I know Trevor Noah, he took his leave back in December, and now they're like, switching out guests and everything like that. How's the environment now? Like, how's that feeling with him leaving and new people coming around? How's it
Let
for
me
you?
specifically. Let me
Spec-
for you ask this specifically. How's Hassan Minaj? That was one of my favorite episodes. How was that?
Oh, you enjoyed it? Yeah, it was a
Yes.
good week. It was a real good week. The guest hosts have been really great. I think everyone has been super surprised at how well everyone has done and taken to it so quickly, and like everyone's been very adaptable and flexible. So it's been a really beautiful experience. It's been really cool to feel like from week to week you're like cooking, like from week to week you're really like in a different mode, and everybody's got a different voice, everyone has a different style, and everyone's remained very adaptable. So it's been a good exercise in writing in general, and it's been a cool thing because normally it would take a decade or two to work with all these people, and it's happening so quickly every week. That's like, especially as a writer, that's the way I look at it, where it's like, all right, in what other place and in what other world are you going to write for, D.L. Hughley, Leslie Jones, Wanda Sykes, and Sarah Silverman, all within the matter of like a month's time, So it's been dope, man.
Which one has been your favorite, if you can say, or if you can choose?
I like, honestly, it every week goes by so quickly. I have not picked a favorite. I know that sounds like a very diplomatic answer, but it's also true. It's like, no, everybody's been like really special in their own way, and everybody's been very fun. So it's like, it's all so different that they're not comparable. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a Chelsea Handler show and a D.L. Hughley show are just not the same.
Mm-hmm. So how does it feel seeing, Trevor Noah leaving after all the years, after all the years of writing for him and everything?
I mean, I've been nothing but happy for him because that dude works really hard. And so the idea that he's like doing stand up and enjoying life now is like, that's the dream that all of us have, So
Right.
it's like to see somebody be able to do exactly that is very inspiring just in general. It makes for a great, it makes for a really great like blueprint, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I could see how him wanting to change beats, because like been having to do that 7 days a week. What is it, 7 days? Well, however long, like for that long, it takes a lot of work. So I feel you on that one. But going back to your special, what was your like? How did you like the name Up Here Killing Myself? So where did you come? Like, oh, I know where you came. Like, how did you come up with like? What made you think I want to name that my special?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a double meaning about how, like, obviously, I think all the jokes and stories are really funny. That's why I'm sharing them. That's why I feel like it's a great watch and a fun watch for people, and it was a fun watch to tour with and perform and everything. But also about how the subject matter is all the times in my life that was not okay. You know what I mean? So it's like we're all laughing now, and it's about sharing, and it's about moving forward and everything. But it's still calling back to a time where things weren't good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's cool.
Okay, so going back to your special,
I'm not
was
gonna
there
cut it
any
out.
inspirations from other comedians or other life inspiration, like in movies, TV shows, anything that you took for this special this time?
I'm trying to think. Like, I think overall, obviously you're always like trying to think of how to be different, how to be unique past the stuff that you grew up on. So it's like to act like there's never an influence in the comedy or in the process of thinking is it would be delusional to think that no one's influenced me. But I think that for the special, Jacob and I worked really hard to make sure it wouldn't be exactly like something people have seen before. And so I guess there's something to be said for like certain movies, maybe. Like, it wasn't necessarily comedians overall, it was more like movies and like camera techniques. And we did a lot of watching. He'd send me stuff that I had never seen before because he's really into film like that, and I'm not. So he was sending me stuff that I can't even recount, the names of, because it would be some foreign black and white thing, but they did something with the camera. He was like, maybe we do this and stuff. So all the influences would be more cinematic than they were comedy related.
Okay, the movie year just started. It's a lot of movies, TV shows, stuff coming out. Have you had a chance to catch any movies, TV shows, or anything that you really like this year?
Poker Face is dope.
Okay.
Poker Face is really well done. I've been watching that with my girlfriend every week, and it's a very fun watch. I'm surprised at how good the writing is for it, because not because it shouldn't be, but just because it's rare that the writing for TV is that good. I think a lot of times in movies and TV, you guess plot lines before they're ever popping up. You guess, you just see it all coming, And I think that for this, there are so many things where even if my girlfriend and I kind of guess what might happen, we're happy to be right. We're excited about being right, and we're shocked and we're amazed when we're wrong. So that show's been really fun to watch, and everyone in it has been killing.
A lot of people ain't gonna know about that because a lot of people don't. Not too many people have Peacock and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
I know. Yeah.
They ain't gonna know too much about that. Yeah. So, any other movies or shows that you got a chance
Let me
to see?
see.
I know I'm about to go see Cocaine Bear today, so that's on my agenda.
Yeah, let me see. There's you know what it is? I'm late to a lot of things. Like a lot, like very, very late. So I watched, what did I watch? On the plane I was on. I watched a couple of movies. Let me see. I watched Schindler's List because I was on a flight to Australia. So
Wait a minute, it's your first time seeing it?
It was my first time seeing it. Yeah, I had never seen it before.
What?
I had never ever seen it.
I ain't never seen it. I ain't never seen it either. I ain't even judging. I ain't never seen it.
It's honestly such a well-made movie, and it like the way the story progresses, like the way it. I feel like every once in a while, even when you're late to something, when you finally watch it, you see what people were talking about, and that's how I felt about Schindler's List. And then I watched I watched Hobbs and Shaw again because I had already seen it, but there was something about like Idris's character that I was like, man, this is just fun. This is like he's like, sure, he's a villain and everything, but he's got like a little bit of swag, and, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It was fun just for the sake of watching it. And then I watched some like rom-com thing that I can't remember now, so I guess it was not good.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
That's TV.
Yeah, I can't remember
That's
it.
TVs and movies, music.
Well, I was going to ask.
That's-
So you,
Wait a minute,
well, go ahead, Eli. Oh, okay.
Don't ask, man.
Oh no, I was going to ask. You said you went to Australia. Was that your first time going, and how was that?
No, it was like my 5th time going. It was great.
wow.
I had a great time. Yeah.
I refuse to get on a plane that long to go to
Really?
Australia.
No,
I
man.
refuse.
World's big. You gotta explore, man.
I'm
Even
scared
if you
of
were
like the
to go
spiders
to
and shit.
Johannesburg, it would still be like hella long of a flight.
Man.
I'm scared. Like there's like spiders and shit, like the hugest fucking spiders in
Yeah, but you
Man,
gotta stay in the city. You gotta stay in
really?
the city. That's like, yeah, because that's like, their thing there is a lot like Florida, where it's like, all right, if you go to Miami, you're seeing very different stuff and wildlife than if you go to the Everglades, So it's like, yeah, they got the spiders and they got the snakes and all the stuff like that, but also if you don't go over there, then you won't run into them.
Yeah, but I wanted to see nature too, so I'm gonna have to.
Nah, wait, you gotta pick then. That's wild. That's why. No, I want to see some nature. I'm just scared to see the nature. You gotta choose.
Camel spiders. That's my worst nightmare, bro.
Dude, I don't really mess with the spiders at all. Like that's when I'm like, we need a gun.
So I
All right.
remember oh no, go ahead, Elijah.
Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
We wasn't done with the entertainment question. Music. You got
Music.
any music that you've been listening to lately? Or you
Yeah,
not a
I
music
listen
guy?
to a lot of. I just downloaded. I'm late, but I just downloaded the Freddie Gibbs album, latest one. Listen to a lot of Jesse Reyes. Listen to a lot of like what I would call undiscovered people that don't really have that much going on Spotify yet, but I think are going to pop. And I listen to obviously like J. Cole and Kendrick and everything. So I'll have some of their songs like on repeat. And then I try to look for new stuff, underground stuff, like anything that I think is like really special or is catchy to me. So I've sort of stopped. I don't really wait on Pitchfork or any of these places to be like, oh, this is really good, you should check it out. It's like, you have the internet in your pocket. You might as well just go looking instead of waiting for someone to tell you what's dope, you know?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember my question I had because I was about your special again. In your special, you said that you was afraid to have kids, and now seeing that you're in a relationship, do you still afraid, or is it something that you're going to have to train yourself not to be afraid of, or you just like I'm not going to have kids, I'm scared.
I mean, I think the fear is because I actually take the thing very seriously. I think that some people will just straight up have kids or you know, accidentally have kids or something and just be like, well, we'll figure it out as we go. And it's like, all right, fine. But also, this is one of the biggest things you'll ever do. It's like, no one will deny no matter their philosophy on having kids, that's one of the most impactful and important things you can do with your life. So if it is, then why would I, sort of take that thing lightly, And I think there's a lot of personal work that I would need to do to feel comfortable making a person and then trying to teach that person how to be a good person. I think the assumption that people have, we're all the hero of our own story. So there's the assumption that, oh, by default, I'm just a good person because I haven't done anything bad. And it's like, not until you have a little person shadowing you do you see reflections of who you really are, So I'm trying to think about that stuff ahead of time. So that way, when there is someone watching me, I can be setting a good example by default, not being like, oh, geez, all right, they saw that. Oof, all right, have to figure out a lie,
Yeah, I had that same mindset. But we the same age. We was born in the same year and stuff. So I had the same mindset, and I've been getting guilt tripped by my mother lately.
Yeah.
Kids and stuff like that.
That'll do it. Yeah,
she's been guilt tripping and stuff. I'm never gonna have any grandkids and stuff like that. But I'm like you. I take it
like, I got you a dog. Like, that's your grandchild. Be okay with that.
But
real quick, when you said 5:40, was that Central or Eastern?
Eastern.
Okay, 5 more minutes. All right. Before we get you out of here, I got one more question.
Yeah.
Politics. Trump, do you think he's gonna get the nomination for the Republicans?
Dude, it's so hard to tell. This is crazy. Okay, so this dude is like probably their biggest personality still, but there's already this thing with Ron DeSantis that I'm like, he's a real if he's really, really smart about it, he can take a lot of Trump's base without ever really insulting Trump or without ever he can even go toe to toe with him and it would still be really interesting because, there's so many things that Trump had to do because he was president. Yeah. And I think that he, when it comes to the shutdowns, right? There's this conservative Republican stance that the shutdowns were useless or that they didn't do any good, whatever. They were too much government control and stuff. And then, when you go back in time and look at who was president, it was Trump.
It was Trump.
And so it's so then his base is not feeling that, but they still love him. Whereas Ron DeSantis can be like, well, I never shut down. because he didn't shut down Florida really.
Yeah.
So then it's like, oof, that's a rough one. Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one for Trump to try to come back from. Ron DeSantis wouldn't really say if he was even vaccinated. It's like, all right, that's wow.
They
You're
don't
really
trust the
playing
vaccine
up to
either.
the.
And
Yeah,
Trump,
I
the one
mean?
who got the vaccine too. He the one who got the vaccine.
But that's the thing is that it's like, so these people don't like the vaccine, but it's Trump's vaccine, you know? So it's like that's even an example of all right, this thing happened under his presidency, but also oof, you know.
Yep.
And then Ron DeSantis like served in the military, and then Trump didn't. It's like oof. Oh geez. So
Oh,
it's
yeah, that's what
very hard to
conservatives
say
love.
who's going to get the nomination.
All right. Josh
All right.
Johnson, everybody.
Well,
Josh Johnson.
We've reached the end to another incredible interview,
Let me
another
get the applause
incredible
out the way.
visit.
Let me get the applause out the way. All right, there.
Another incredible interview, another incredible visit by Josh Johnson. Definitely gotta have you back, dude. Just leave it with whatever you're working on. What else you want to plug? Just let us know what you want to plug in right
Plug your
now.
socials and everything.
Yeah. Socials,
So if you're looking to catch up with me anywhere, I'm at Josh Johnson Comedy on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm also on at Josh Johnson at Twitter, and I have 2 podcasts. One's called The Josh Johnson Show, and the other one's called Hold Up with Dulce Sloan, and those come out every Thursday wherever you get your podcasts. So check those out.
Shout out to Dulce also. I remember her. She's awesome. That's why I called you a correspondent earlier, because last time I said right, she's like, no. Yeah. But Josh Johnson, we appreciate you for joining us.
Yeah,
and we are
appreciate
out.
y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
No problem.